particularly good. Greetings and salutations, malefactors and YouTubers. We're taking the Africa Twin out for a little spin tonight. Checking on those new fog lights I installed the other day. Figure, give a little nighttime spin. Alrighty, we're going to get out of the lights for a little while so I can kind of give you guys an idea of what this bike, well, basically looks like with its stock lighting and with the updated set. Now note that the 2021 and newer models of the Africa Twin Sport have the steering lights on the front. I have no clue what those look like. I have not really sampled the 2020 model or newer. But I have ridden a few of these Africa Twins. So as you can see right now, we have just a regular low beam on. And honestly, the lighting package on the Africa Twin's pretty good right out the box. So you wonder, why did you add fog lights? Well, I commute 62 miles a day to work, and I might or might not owe a few $1,000s to the local toll authority, so I'm relegated to taking back roads. And one thing that you'll find on back roads a lot of times are, deer, other types of animals, dogs, folks don't keep the best watch on all of their animals, and wild animals no one keeps a watch on. And after a few near misses, not the most fun situation to be in. So we'll wait for this car to pass, and we're going to kick up the high beams, show you kind of what that looks like. Alrighty. So there we are with the high beams. Like I said, this bike's very generously lit. One thing that is going to drive you a bit crazy in the beginning is most folks are going to think that you have one light out, since when you have your low beam on, you only have one light on. Your high beam shows up too. And people have a tendency to get a bit irate if you have both lights on, because these are actually extraordinarily bright. But as you can see, the throw is fairly narrow. So we're going to kick on the fog lights real quick. Now, that's one great thing about the fog light is you get a lot of extra side vision. Anything coming up from your peripherals, you'll be able to have a much better look at it and give yourself more time to react, especially when it comes to small critters. I have these angled down so they're not terribly intrusive to oncoming drivers. We suss that out by having basically my wife drive oncoming at me to see if she gets completely blinded by my fog lights, and I adjusted them down so they weren't too much of a nuisance. So what's different between the original fog light and this new one on the right hand side, where you see I have a bit more reach, is my original fog light's just a flood, and it was rated at 1600 lumens, which is pretty bright. It's about average for like a DRZ headlight. On my right side is now a spot and flood, and that's rated around 3100 lumens, so it's considerably brighter. You have a tighter focus beam, and you have a little bit more spread to the outside. You actually have more light diodes. So on the original there's 6 light diodes, on this one there's about 14, maybe a little more. So after these vehicles pass, I'm going to go ahead and kick back on the bright real quick. So you have a huge field of illumination with all the lights on. And sometimes this extra light's the difference between clipping an animal at 50 or 60 in the, 6 a.m. in the morning and swerving to avoid said animal. I forget the name of the video, but there was actually an Africa Twin video from Australia where they showed hitting a, I guess, adolescent kangaroo, and it destroyed a lot of the fairing on the Africa Twin. The guy got pitched, but also the adolescent kangaroo was split basically in half. It was kind of gruesome. So we're going to take this down to my little patch of river bottom and kind of show you what it would look like under dirt conditions. Now this is not a light kit I would run on my Suzuki that's battery powered. Both these lights draw between 18 watts an hour on the left and 36 watts an hour on the right, so it's actually pretty close to the consumption of a regular halogen bulb. I don't know what the stock Africa Twin light is rated at, but I'm assuming probably around 30 watts, 40 watts. Nice little ride on 1660 South, a little bit outside of Hutto. It's actually quite a nice road. They recently repaved it. Back in the day it was, I guess it'd been around 40, 50 years plus. It was more tar snake than road. In the morning when you had the fresh layer of condensation on it, it would be extraordinarily slick. Now I always do recommend some auxiliary lighting if you plan to do nighttime adventure riding, or if you do commute in the backwoods a good bit. You can dodge stuff like deers, boars, dogs. And out here, especially the closer you get to San Antonio, you'll find a lot of wild boar at night. You hit one of those, it's pretty much game over. You're not moving the boar. They run a couple of 1,000 pounds. So you definitely want to have that forewarned, forelearned sort of deal going on there. So I'll go back to showing you what it would look like just with factory lighting. So that's without the fog lights. I mean, you still have a good area of illumination, a good wide throw. Immediate area is pretty well lit. With the bright, you have a bit further of a throw, but it's not extraordinarily obtrusive. But quite honestly, having all of this peripheral vision, you can't beat it. Should be, actually I missed my entrance on it. I flip around real quick. Even with great peripheral vision, you still might miss stuff from time to time. Alrighty. I'm gonna need to stop real quick. Turn off the traction controller. This is going to be a very interesting video of the bike cutting out on under power. Yeah, we're not going to bother throwing on gravel mode. This is just a little trip. So I'm going to make this run a couple times. So this is with just regular lighting. Now you can still pretty much make out what you're doing. As I said, this is for a factory lit bike. This is actually a really good lighting setup. Alright, this is the low beam. Here's the high beam here. But you see you're lacking peripheral vision. Gonna kick on our lights. Look how much more vision you get with it. You see every nook, cranny, anything that might be out the side to get you a little bit. And on a bike with a proper stator like a DRZ, not particularly a bad setup. You just got to make sure if you are going to put auxiliary lights on that you do calculate how much output your stator has and don't overload your stator, or else you're going to wind up with a toasty stator. So look how much more vision you have like this. Some deep ruts in those leaves. I forgot about that. Give it a little bit of beans. One thing you'll notice on the trail riding, the bright light's not as much of an asset. It won't illuminate as much as you would expect it to illuminate. Could you get by with regular factory lighting on the woods? Oh yeah, easily. But it certainly adds a little bit to have your auxiliary lighting. Now there is one other thing to bear in mind. If you ride in dusty climates quite a bit, or sandy climates, or foggy, it's good to have one of your fog lights have a yellow filter. It'll actually cut through the vision obstruction. It's still a little moist out here for me to be able to kick up any significant dust. I keep on forgetting this drops from 65 to 45 pretty quickly. I've also kind of come to the decision that I need to possibly invest in a quieter helmet for my next one. This G-Max GM11, while a very comfortable helmet, while a very ventilated helmet, is also a very noisy helmet. Tuck in real quick. Yeah, I need to clean this mirror or window for myself. A little messy. You know, it's crazy right now. Tonight, it's 59 degrees outside. By this time next week, it's supposed to be 24 degrees outside. It's absolutely insane. I'm finally working on getting myself a proper cold weather jacket though. I've been using this Joe Rocket mesh jacket with a raincoat over it for years. And then a heated vest underneath. Oh, that and 4 additional layers. Still get cold. So finally I'm going to make the plunge and get a proper winter jacket. you'll hear a bit of roaring. That's that Bridgestone AX41 on the front. Between 65 and 75, it has kind of a roar to the front. Not near as bad as most other Navis, but it's still a noticeable engine tire roar. So you wonder to yourself, you keep on saying you make a 62 mile a day commute. Well, basically every day I go from Hato to San Marcos. Not quite in a position where I can move closer yet. But honestly, it does afford you the time to have a nice, long, beautiful ride. And a lot of the back roads between here and there are quite nice. You can even get a bit creative with your path and see some real nice treed surroundings on your back roads. Tell you what though, this is a nice place to hang your hat. I'm kind of missing this road being under construction for a while. It was actually a 2-lane dirt road for a few months. An absolute gas on this bike. Though it was unfortunate you get stuck behind cars. The speed limit was still posted at 45 to 50. They're going to be doing about 20 to 15. Generally, I'm not kind of one of those pushy riders that speeds by on folks if I can avoid it. So another thing to note on these Africa Twins, if you are new to riding one, it'll say in the manual, don't adjust the traction control while you're moving. Very much so, don't do that. If you're on the DCT, I wouldn't recommend it on the standard either. I accidentally did it one time and it had some really adverse effects while I was riding. The bike felt like it was cutting out and dying the whole time. I ended up having to take it over to the dealership to have them do a reset on the DCT. I found out I could do that myself later on. That's basically all I wanted to show you folks tonight. A freshly functional fog light. And nice little trip to a nearby little bit of dirt. Now with the holidays coming up, I'm gonna be out of town for a bit, so it might be a little bit of time before my next video, or I'll probably drop to 1 a week, down from 2 a week for a couple of weeks. Maybe a little longer, seeing how things go. But in the meantime, you guys take care, stay safe, and don't do anything that I wouldn't do on a two-wheeled bike, or do stuff that I wouldn't do, but have the skill to make sure you can handle what you get yourself into. In the meantime, have a good evening.